discuss today's tutorial, right? So in the tutorial number 1, part 1, so you are given 2 projects, right? Project 1 and project 2. First thing is a recommender system for movies. And the second one is automated slide segmentation tool. And the brief description is also given for each and every project. So you have to read this paragraph and develop, and you have to answer the questions, right? So by understanding, by reading this paragraph, you can find what is the aim of the project, objectives of the projects, and you can basically do some sort of breakdown of this bigger project into smaller pieces, and then you can give for each and every module what are the inputs and the outputs, and based on that you can develop a simple block diagram, right? The reason why I have give this kind of activity, so when it comes to your final year project report, in the 3rd chapter, so you have to produce different diagrams. Those diagrams are not only these UML diagrams, but also block diagrams, in some cases flow charts, ERs, etc. Right? So in order to produce a block diagram for your project, right? Before you are doing, you may do this one, then you can develop your own version for your project, right? So these are not like, I'm not going to do in details, right? These are little things. And then as the tutorial number 1, part 2, so you are only having 2 questions. So it's about the second session of this lecture series. So you have to explain what are the reasons of software complexity, and if the poor analysis and design happens, so you have to explain what are the negative outcomes, right? These 2 are not big cases. And when it comes to the tutorial number 2, part 1, so you have set of systems, right? Set of projects. For example, an e-learning system. So like the tutorial 1, part 1, right? You have to read the given paragraph and you have to come up, identify the users of the learning system or the given system. And you have to list down what are the actions of each user. So in today's session, we had that discussion how to, when we have a requirements either in point form or even in the paragraph format, so how you understand who are the users and what are the actions. So usually, so if I just go through it, right? So the goal of the e-learning system is to provide the learning facility for the students via the internet. So students will be the potential use of this particular e-learning system. So usually you can understand, you can find these system users, and those system users will always appear as nouns. But when it comes to the actions, those actions you can actions that could perform by the users can find as a verbs, right? So then through the system, the student can download learning material. So Downloading learning material will be a possible action that can be done by students. Upload answers for assignment. So upload answers is another action. Participate in for online quizzes. So the participating for online quizzes is also another action. And also, on other hand, the teacher of the system. Oh, then now we have another user. So it's teacher, right? Teachers of the system can upload course materials. So uploading course materials is an action that could perform by the teachers in the e-learning system. Then create assignment and quizzes, upload marks, grading are the other set of actions, right? At the same time, a teacher can switch his or her view to student view, right? And then again, we have a different action which is switching to student view, right? And again, we have the third use of our system, who is the administrator. The administrator of e-learning system is capable of creating new users and assigning permissions for each user. So administrator will be able to do this creating new users action and also assigning permissions is also a possible action for the administrator in the e-learning system, right? So you can have, these are the answers for first two questions, right? And then you have to identify the main modules of the system, right? So we have learning material related things. So usually you know about learning management system. So in one section there is all learning materials, lessons, videos, etc. And there is a section for assignments, quizzes, etc. And again, you have results, facility of the displaying the results, and then you have creating the administrative tasks like creating new users, assign permissions. So you can think by yourself what would be the possible main modules of the system. So if I am doing this particular first project, right? So learning material or the lessons will be one module. Exams, assignments and quizzes will be another module. And so under the exam and exam module, we can have create assignments and quizzes, create option, and then the uploading answers of taking quizzes and mark uploading and grading. Likewise, we can have submodules also. And also, I will have another module for administrative tasks, something called admin module, right? So under that, I can do creating new users and assigning permission for each of us. And then, as the last one, list down the different views of the system can have. So it's clear when we talk about this particular sentence, right? At the same time, teacher can switch his or her view to student view. So it means student is a user, and that is a view, one of the viewpoint of our e-learning system. Also, teacher is another user. So for that user, we can have another view. And also when it comes to the administrator, the administrator view is also will be the third view of this given project, right? So likewise, you have to read and reason with your brain and common sense or existing system, then you can have answers for each and every project, right? So once you have completed this active set of activities, right? Things in terms of your project. So what are the different users of my project? And for each user, what would be the possible actions? For when when I am going to categorize or the modularize my project, so what are the possible main modules and what are the possible different system views, right? So you have to do it for your own projects also. Okay. And then tutorial number 2, part 2. So it is directly following the UML drawing, right? So you are given a scenario. So in the question 1, it's a vending machine, right? So you have to understand what are the actors and users of the vending machine. Identify the actions of each actor can perform. So you know how to do these two, right? And then you have to draw the use case diagram, right? So yeah, we have only 2 students always, right? Anyhow. Um, okay. Nirma, can you find the answers for part A? And Tihara, you can do the answers for part B, right? So while you are developing your answer, I will highlight the case study with my answer, right? Okay, so Chatushmi, um, I will upload the video, right? So then you can listen to the first part of this tutorial. Anyhow, these are not like hard cases so far, right? So Nirman Tihara is doing the first 2 questions, right? So also you can try first 2 questions by yourself, right? So for this question 1. Let me know when you complete your task, right? Okay. Um, so if we go to this case, right? A vending machine is a machine which dispenses items such as snacks, beverages, or consumer products after customer insert currency or credit into the machine, right? So in the first sentence, it will explain about the what a vending machine will do, and we have our first actor who is customer, and his first action would be the inserting coins or currency, right? The customer can add purchase details. So the another activity that can action that can be done by the customer will be add purchase details. So the insert coins කියන එක අපි කලින් count කරානේ, right? And then customer should be able to purchase one of kind available drink. So purchasing a drink would be the next action that could perform by the customer, and getting back the changes is also another activity. And then the system should be able to detect the total money inserted by the customer and print it in on the 3. Operator of the vending machine should be able to view the status of cash, update the coin stock of coin collector, and the restore the vending product stock. So, and so apart from the customer, now we have the next user who is operator. So operator can perform view the status of cash action, update the coin stock action, and the restoring the vending product stock. So these are the actions that could perform. So in our use case, these will be considered as use cases. Right? So then you have to simply draw the use case diagram. So in the question 2, you have ATM. And yeah. So you can try these exercises, right? Do you have any issues? I will share the answers with you uh, only when you submit the answers, right? So that should be some sort of motivation for you to submit the tutorials, right? So we are not having, I mean, 15 tutorials, only we are having 7 tutorials to cover the diagram. So that's why I'm asking, right? So if we go to your project task, right? In the second week, so this is our second week. So the first thing you have to do is the project understanding. So these set of questions was available in the tutorial 1, part 1. So if you do the that particular tutorial and get familiar, then you are very much easy to do this, right? So the so far your project, since you have defense your proposals also, right? So your aims and objectives are clear to you, right? So you only have to create these 3 aspects, right? And then in as the bird view of the project, I'm asking you to identify different user types and their actions, main modules, and different views of the system can have, right? And as the third section, right, you have to do this section uh, as a compulsory task, right? So you have to understand what are the users or the actors of your system. Then you have to identify the each and every actions. If you if your actions have different dependencies like include and exclude, so you have to understand and you have to state whether this particular relationship is include or exclude due to this reason. Likewise, you have to identify, and then based on these 3, you have to develop a use case diagram for your project, right? So that is for today's session, right? I'm not like doing use case drawing in a like deep way. It's because it's a very fundamental diagram, but after the next week, most probably we will talking about the activity diagram. So I will do a in-depth tutorial for those sessions, right? So make sure you are doing at least a guided project. uh, it's not for the my request, but it's for your project, right? So make sure you are doing it. And yeah, that's all for today's session, right? So you can do by yourselves, and before uploading you can even send it to me, and I will do the corrections if necessary, right? Then you can have a one shot a very good submission. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.